Well, my name's Pastor Paul, and we're continuing our daily devotions in the book of Philippians. And today we're in Philippians chapter 1, verses 25 to 26, just two verses. So let me read them to you. It says this, Paul says, "Convinced of this, I know that I will remain and I will continue with all of you for your progress and joy in the faith, so that through my being with you again, your boasting in Christ Jesus will abound on account of me." So Paul starts by saying, convinced of this. He's continuing his writing. As we continue in this study, we have to remember the Apostle Paul just told the Philippian church, just the previous day's devotion, that he wants to be with the Lord, but it's better that he stays. Remember, Paul's in prison writing this letter. He still has to go before the emperor and make his case, and yet, while in prison, Paul knew, even though his situation was horrible, he knew he had purpose. He had to impact the Praetorian guards and other Christians and anyone who he would come in contact with, and he knew it was his purpose to stay in this life. You see, for Paul to survive in this world, he had to have the right perspective. See, for you to survive in this world, for me to survive in this world, we've got to have the right perspective. Paul learned he must lean in and press in, no matter what difficulty and situation he was in, because for the Philippian church to succeed in their faith, he needed to have the right perspective. And his perspective was to serve others. Your perspective matters. If you think your life is on this earth is just for your own enjoyment, then your perspective is wrong. Let me just tell you a quick little story. Once there was an old man, lived in kind of a tiny village, and he was poor, but he had this beautiful horse. In fact, this horse was the envy of everybody. Even the king wanted this horse. And the little villagers would come along to this man and say, "You need to sell this horse. You're poor. You could sell this horse for so much money and live and be good." And he says, "Why would I sell this horse? He's not just a horse. He's my friend. He's not a possession. How could I sell a friend?" And they would say, "You're an old fool." Well, one day, this horse got out, and now this poor man had nothing. And so the villagers came and said, "You see, old man, someone has stolen your horse. Now you're even more poor than you were before." And the old man responded, "Don't speak too quickly. All you know is that the stable is empty and the horse is gone. I can't say if this is a curse or a blessing." And they just laughed. They thought the old man was crazy. Well, eventually, 15 days later, the horse comes back bringing 12 wild stallions with him. And once again, the village people came around and said, "Oh my gosh, old man, you are right. We were wrong. This is a blessing, not a curse. Forgive us." And the old man said, "Hold on. Once again, you go too far. Say only that the horse is back, and state only that a dozen horses have returned with him. But don't judge. How do you know this is a blessing and not a curse? You only see a fragment of the story, not the whole story." Well, they said maybe the old man's right, but they knew for sure it was a blessing. But then again, a few days later, he fell from one of the horses and he broke his legs. His son actually broke his legs riding these horses. And they said, "You see, old man, you were right. We can't say this is a blessing. It's actually a curse, because now your son, your only son, has broken his leg, and now he can't work. And now he can't train these horses to sell these horses. You will be poor. People will steal these horses again." The old man said, "You guys are wrong again. You don't have the right perspective. Only say that my son broke his legs. We don't know if this is a blessing or a curse." Well, a few weeks later, that country enraged in a war against a neighboring country, and every young man in that village was required to join the army, except for the old man's son, whose leg was injured. Once again, the people gathered around crying and screaming because their sons had been taken. They would never see their sons again. "You were right, old man," they wept. "God knows you were right. This proves it. Your son's accident was a blessing. His legs might be broken, but at least he's with you." And the old man said, "You keep trying to draw conclusions. Say only this: your sons had gone to war and mine did not. You don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. No one is wise enough to know, only God." I'll tell you that story to encourage you. Hang in there. Keep your perspective that God has you right where you are and that He's not finished with your story. Hope that encourages you. Hang in there, guys.